My name is Dylan Brayshaw. I'm a surf photographer on the Gold Coast. Today isn't my normal vlog. I'm going to be doing a product review. So this is my first housing that I bought. It's a Meikon 5D Mark III water housing. Now, if you're watching this video, you're probably looking to buy one. It's a really good entry-level water housing. That's why I bought it, because the price was really good. It was really cheap compared to a lot of the other water housings on the market. For the 5D Mark III 24-105mm lens, so it only takes that lens. So it doesn't really fit very well any other lenses, so you have to only use that lens. So you get the water housing itself, of course, a manual, which I must say is quite comprehensive. It explains everything that you need to take care of it. And you also get two O-rings, so that works really well for replacing them. The pros is that it's really cheap. I bought mine for about 800 Australian dollars. I was a bit skeptical buying overseas. It came from Hong Kong, so I wasn't quite sure whether it was going to be up to scratch, because you're putting in a really expensive camera. You're putting in like a $3,000, $4,000 piece of equipment. I mean, originally the Meikon is designed for diving, so it's rated to 60 meters. I only used it for surf photography, so I was just getting dumped by waves. I'd maybe take it 2 or 3 meters down. I wouldn't test it to its full capabilities, but it worked really well. So obviously you can only use the 24-105mm lens. You can have full zoom control. You've also got focus control. You've got a full array of all the functional buttons on the back, so you can pretty much change anything. You can even change it from video to shooting mode. You've got your ISO, you've got all the functionality at the top. So that's really good for a water housing. To be able to change all your settings in the water for this price is really good. Now, there are some cons. There are some downsides to this housing I found. So what I did find is that you don't get the full zoom range. You only get to about 45mm to 105. Once you get between 45mm and 24mm, or 24 millimeters, you're starting to get a bit of the housing in the frame, which is pretty much just the housing, so that's really crap. That bummed me out a lot, because I wanted to use the 24mm to get my wide barrel shots. Here's some examples of that happening. And then the second downside to this housing is that the back, in order to change your settings, because you don't have dial controls on the top, you have to change all your settings through the Q menu, the Canon Q menu. So you'd press the Q button, and then you'd select the direct selection little joystick, and that should just select right, and so you can cycle through all the menu settings. You can't do this. It doesn't line up in the housing, so that's a major downside. So I couldn't adjust that. The only thing I could adjust was ISO, so I'd select ISO, and then I'd use the dial on the back to change the ISO, and that's all I could do. You can change from shutter priority to aperture priority to auto to manual, but you're limited. The Q menu and the directional pad doesn't click. So I emailed Meikon. They didn't respond at all. Their customer service is really bad, so yeah, they can't really help you out with that. They said, I asked them about the using the full focal range. Basically, they'd have to make this front element bigger, so that I don't see that happening. So the only thing that I customized this housing, because once you get the camera in here, it's really heavy, and if you want to take a photo of a surfer, you've got to lift it up, and that's how you hold it. You hold it with your arm and your wrist. So I added a camera strap, just so you can slide your hand in, and then you can hold it like that. and it takes all the pressure off your wrist and your arm. Trust me, this thing gets heavy. So the closing mechanism was quite good. I was impressed. It's sort of like a GoPro closing mechanism. So you got the latch on the side that's got a safe release, and then basically you have two O-rings. You've got an inner one that sits in there, and then you've got this outer one which compresses when you close it, obviously. I pull the seal out, cover it in grease, and put it back. And because I did that, like, I've used it for about a year, and every time I did that I stretched the O-ring. So eventually the O-ring gets too loose, and when you close it, it pinches at the top. So I had to buy new O-rings. That was really hard to find. I contacted Meikon, I contacted everyone, and I couldn't find it anywhere. I was out of O-rings. I went to an O-ring supplier. They couldn't give me the right one, the right density. So I eventually found someone on the internet in Alibaba Express, or Alibaba, and they sent me, I think I bought 20 for about $70. So yeah, contact me if you need an O-ring for this housing. I can send you one. It was really hard to find because of the shipping from China was really expensive. So yeah, hit me up. I'll put a link at the bottom, or just message me if you need an O-ring. Yeah, so it compresses like a GoPro. You got this latch that goes over, that compresses. You just got to make sure the safety's down, and then you've got two latches, one on the top and one on the bottom. That, boom, that compresses the O-ring perfectly to give you a good seal. I had great results with this camera. I'll show you a couple of photos. This one was of South Stradbroke Island. I shot it at about 70 to maybe 80 mil. So it gives you some good results. I was very happy with it. It's a pretty good housing. I've had it for about a year and a half, but now I've upgraded to an Aquatech housing, which gives you flexibility with changing the ports, and so you can use different lenses. So that's about it. Pros for this housing, I'd say price, it's really good. Limitations, obviously you have to have this exact model. I know Meikon make other models for many other cameras. So if you're looking for a smaller camera, it's really good. Other cons for this, I'd say you don't get the full focal range. And the Q menu doesn't work. You do have zoom, but the wheel inside does wear down after a while because it's rubbing on the zoom ring on the lens. So that wears down after a while. It's a very good entry-level water housing. But hey, if you've got a Canon 5D Mark III, you're not going to be spending $800 to protect it. You want to spend a bit more to get that full protection. So yeah, I hope you found this review helpful. I couldn't find anything like this on the net, so I ended up making a video. Be sure, if you want to buy one of these, use the link below in the description. It's an Amazon link, so it helps me out. I get a kickback from any sales that goes through that link, so that helps me out a lot. I'm also subscribed to my channel. I'll do a couple of reviews with some products that I use in the future. But yeah, hopefully I'll be able to get out in the water, and hopefully there's some waves coming soon. My name's Dylan Brayshaw. Be sure to subscribe to my channel, and anyway, I'll check you guys later.
Baby, what am I supposed to do? Give it all to you. Maybe, how am I supposed to prove?